Okay, this is more, not just here, it's, you can divide, the thinking quadrant divides into self-conscious thinking towards the ascendant or motivational thinking. And the same way with motivational sensitivity, relationship sensitivity, feeling related, feeling motivated, intuitive motivation, intuitive identity. Each area can divide to another layer. We're not going to use that at this point. We use that at a later date. So we're good. So these are the parts that aren't used that much in most of the books on astrology. And we're going to be concentrating mostly on these. But we will bring in the other categories and bring in the other ideas of how each of the, how we have angular, succeeding, cadent houses of being, having, and understanding what you have. And there's the self, to concern, relationships and rewards, the elements. And there's a keyword for each houses. So these keywords are where, then there's a bunch of other words. I'm going to have to dig them out again. They're just normal keywords associated with, like, if I take second house of values, concerns, earth, having. This is often considered the house of money and talents. So there's things that fit into these categories. And some people will use these houses just for those things and not look at in depth at the whole layer as it's unfolding. So when we have the angular houses, the first house in each quadrant, it's angular, it's being. It's trying to be I'm trying to be my identity. I'm trying to be secure. Fourth house, I'm trying to be related. Seventh house, I'm trying to be established or in career. 10th house. So these angulars are pushing to be, driving to be. And as every planet, if a planet in there, it's going to pick up those qualities and affect that area. When we get to the succeeding houses, here it's the result. You have the identity, then you have a being, therefore you have certain resources around your talents. These are the things that you have and your values. In the second house, you have feelings, succeeding, having feelings. You have trust, which is relationships. Having sensation, and they have to have trust. And having friendships and being able to know people, have people to use and to relate to. These are the having houses. Again, as we start to use this is the whole process of understanding how to keep watching the planetary energy against the scales of the signs and the scales of the houses. And the energy, the signs come and affect the planets come and affect the houses, and we're observing energies and colors mixing, and we're trying to see how they apply to our life. Then you have the cadent or transforming, learning or transforming houses. So the third house of personal understanding and expression, the 12th house of one's conscience, the 9th house of one's morality and principles, the 6th house of one's duty and services and health, and how we understand and transform them. So again, there's a tendency to see the house means this, so the planet's there, it's going to affect the house. That's the meat and potatoes. Well, that's the basic way most people think, but there's also a way how this energy comes down into these areas, and it affects more than just your health, and it can affect numerous things. There's different layers on how a planet will work in each house. So then once we've done the houses, the modes, then we got to get to the elements. So you have the fire houses of self, the first house, identity, 5th house of performance, the ninth house of morality. These are all houses of self-concern. So any planet here is going to have kind of a fiery, self-centered focus. Then when you have the houses of concern, the earth houses, you have having resources, having values and resources, 2nd house. having duty and work concerns, things to have to do to make money or whatever, 6th house, and having status and position, accomplishing things, that's in the 10th house. So these are the earth houses, the practical houses. So it's almost like the signs, not exactly, and sometimes you can have a repeat pattern. Something can be angular in your houses and cardinal in your signs, but someone else might have something angular in their houses, but it may be mutable in their signs and have different attitudes and different approaches to things altogether. You don't memorize all the complexity. Just remember to memorize the basics, and as you relate them to each other, you start the gateways of understanding unfold. So then you have the succeeding. No, succeeding. Why is this succeeding? We should be relationships. So yeah, in relationship to the air houses, the 3rd house of communication, expression, the relationship to friendships and relationships to partners. 3 types of relationship houses, and as we go, when we get to our 5th level, we interpret this. We count points for every planet to see how many points we have in each of these categories, and then we begin to see which ones are our main mode of operation. Then we have the water houses, which is house of rewards, our security, our trust, of trusting with other people, and the results are conscience. And these are the water houses, and they'll come out. So we got to see what each planet comes in and goes through each of these categories as they do, just as we did like through the signs, only, and then we have the individual keywords. These are just main keywords that represent the basic idea, duty, but there's other words that can be added in to each houses, and I'll send you the list of them. I got to dig them up, but like health, service, skills, it's our duty to be healthy. If we're not healthy, we're going to have trouble finding jobs or work or getting skills or finding skills that we like. There's so many things that are included in this duty. It's our duty to respond to the input that comes at us and to improve our feelings, to improve our depth from it. So improvement goes in here, discipleship. There's layers and layers. You're always going to be adding new meanings for each house as you go along and understand them better. But I want to work on each layer and how the layers pile up on each other, so you have the in-depth thinking of each house. And then as you have this in-depth thinking, when you add each of the other keywords that go to the house, you'll be able to back up and see how they fit to the side, how they fit into this. So then each of the other planets just has a keyword. 3rd house is expression, how you express yourself. The 2nd house is your values. So your ability to be alert and express yourself. You look around and see what things you have around you to be used at your disposal. And then you see what clothes are clean or not clean. You put your package together and you build up your identity. That's this intuitive section. Expression, values, identity. But in the thinking, which is the social extension, the objective, you're thinking, there's the thinking about being conscious, there's thinking about friendships, and thinking about honor. So these are just words, but honor includes duty, it includes career, status, respect, dignity, what you can achieve, what you can produce. And many of us have the career you have. Sometimes we live up to a career, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have friends, sometimes we have enemies, sometimes we do things right or wrong. These are all things that weigh on our thoughts that affect our objective functioning. So, I mean, the houses are just another mandala ripe with meaning. And as the planets come, they pour the energy and they activate certain areas and all the different layers at the same time. So when we get to the sensation quadrant, we start having morality. Do you have the same beliefs or morals as people you meet? Can you trust each other? And based on your morality and your trust, what kind of relationships or partnerships you're going to have? Do you marry someone that's as rich as you or better off than you or has the same beliefs as you or not. This is all about social choices and alignments and how you're sensitive to each other in a functional way. So have morality, trust, and partnership. When we get to the feeling quadrant below, we have duty, performance, and security. It's our duty to be healthy, to adjust, to improve things, to try and fix things, to try and make things work, and to put ourselves together to get ourselves more prepared. So self-improvement. Fifth house is our having. We've made some adjustments. We have some feelings, and we have to use our feelings. We have to perform with our feelings, and we can perform well or badly. We can form and get the attention of others and get really applause, or we can form poorly and we get bad energy. So how our feelings, we have our duty, our performance, so performance includes how you feel about yourself, how you like yourself, it's your romance, it's your play. All of these factors are tied into performance. Then your health, your duty, your ability to improve, your ability to perform will determine how secure you feel. And then how secure you feel will affect your personal motivation and depth. So this is the wheel we're going to go through. We're going to go through these categories for each of the planets as we go along. Oh yeah, I do have the keywords on here. So here's some of the other keywords. So we have, on the main wheel, see, first house is identity. It also includes appearance or personality. Okay, there's a few more keywords I have to dig up. Second house is values. Values, money, personal resources, talents, things at your disposal. So these are other categories that come identified to these areas. Third house, expression, includes relatives, siblings, brothers and sisters who you learn how to talk with. You pick up the prejudices, ideas of. Short trips, writing, learning, and it's your common sense, how you make sense of things. So each house has a number of keywords and categories. I mean, you can take, so there's some astrological dictionaries. There's probably 50 or 60 different words you can get that relate to each house. There's somewhere, these are main ones that stand out. There's others that can be added in, and you can keep adding factors that relate to these sections of the chart. But they will, security, home, personal integrity is going to relate to the fourth house. The performance, children, romance, play, creative expression, that's going to be your fifth house, performance. Personal performance, not social performance. So getting used to all of these, being able to run into them all, seeing how each planet has effect in each of these areas is what this class is about. And really, you have to work on your chart. You're not going to memorize it all right away. You work on it, you learn it one chart at a time. Oh, that works this way, that works this way. And in the end, you get used to seeing how planets work. So it's different than the signs, because the signs are picky. The planet is the energy, it's the level of consciousness. It's still a level of consciousness here, but it picks up an attitude of freedom or responsibility from the sign it's in, to being independent or being responsible, to belonging or being alone. But when it comes down into the houses, it's not about this. It's talking about subjective or objective, how you're within yourself and how you participate out in the world and how you're involved with others. It starts to be more mundane, and the houses end up being specific areas of concern. And each planet will come in and put its level of consciousness in that area of concern. And you're going to find thousands of ways to deal with it. So we have worksheets. I've sent you, I'm just going to, let's see where we are. Oh, okay, so this is going through, okay, so we're going to go through this each time. What am I looking for?